It is 8 p.m. From warm and windy to cold and snow.
We're expecting quite the change in the weather over the next 24 hours.
A strong spring storm is about to challenge our weekend plans.
Well, in Colorado, I'm not sure if it's ever fully safe to do that spring planning.
Graduation ceremonies being canceled and rescheduled.
We know how much planning goes in for the families. And so to have to change it is our last resort.
Ahead of potential damage and power outages.
When the trees get storm damage, it's never pretty.
Denver 7 is getting you ready with everything you need to know before the storm arrives.
And good evening to you, and thank you for watching Denver 7 News on Local 3. I'm Ann Trujillo.
I'm Danny New with the Denver 7 Weather Action Day for many reasons. It's currently 83 degrees downtown, but we have a near 50-degree temperature drop coming in the next 12 hours. Also, a storm is bringing snow to the mountains tonight before it hits the metro.
Tonight, Denver 7 is getting you prepared for what's ahead, including the potential for power outages, damaged trees and plants, plus a slew of event schedules, including graduations being shaken up.
Oh, sorry, grads. First, Chief Meteorologist Mike Nelson joins us. Mike, we've also been monitoring high fire danger since Wednesday, but it looks like those red flag warnings just expired.
Just about to across the rest of the state as we speak, Danny. And this is what we had earlier today, and that's why we had the fire danger. 90s and 80s all across eastern and southern Colorado. But notice temperatures are falling quickly now across the north. It's now to 38 degrees at Cheyenne, while it's still 80 at Colorado Springs and 85 at Pueblo. Denver is right now at 59 at the airport. We're still in low 80s downtown because the front literally is crossing the city at the moment. Come through, the winds will rapidly shift over to the northeast, gust to about 40 miles per hour, and there'll be some blowing dust as it comes in. So the fire weather warnings continue over southern Colorado until 9 o'clock, but they've been lifted elsewhere. As far as the Denver area, we do have the winter storm warning that's in effect for tomorrow noon until Saturday noon, and farther off to the west, winter weather advisories and even a freeze warning up around the Craig area by early Saturday morning. So our weather headlines: the colder winds are coming soon, and really soon. Rain to snow tomorrow, below freezing temperatures Saturday and Sunday morning. Heavy mountain snows Friday and Saturday, and about 4 to 8 inches of snow here in the metro area. We'll check it all out in more detail coming up in about 15 minutes.
Thank you, Mike. And like we mentioned, this blast of winter heading for parts of the Front Range during the weekend is some awkward timing because, a lot of school districts were hoping that warmer weather would come for the graduations this weekend.
I know it's a busy, busy weekend. Now, as Denver 7 CB Cotton reports, many school leaders, had to scramble to reschedule graduations, and parents are now trying to keep up.
Danny, Ann, we're here at the First Bank Center in Broomfield, and as of today, this arena will serve as a stage for hundreds of graduating seniors this weekend. Today, the Boulder Valley School District announcing ceremonies for 5 of its high schools would have to change either venue or time, and in some cases, a combination of both. Mother Sue Ewig tells us she was busy preparing for her daughter's graduation ceremony to be held on Saturday. Her daughter is a senior at Monarch High School in Louisville. But today, Ewig learned the ceremony was getting moved to tomorrow, Friday. While this doesn't change much for her planning, she says some of her daughter's classmates haven't been as lucky.
I heard about a family today that I know, and their daughter's graduating. Her dad has to work tomorrow. He's a pharmacist, and her mom will be traveling home from her job tomorrow. So they will actually miss graduation. I don't even know if they'll be able to catch the live stream. So it's disappointing for sure.
So to get more specific, the 5 high schools within the Boulder Valley School District who've had some type of change to their graduation ceremonies are Boulder High School, Broomfield High School, Centaurus, Peak to Peak, and Monarch. You can head over to the Boulder Valley School District Facebook page for exact details. There have also been some changes for Jeffco Public Schools. Their graduation ceremonies for Chatfield and Columbine High Schools have both had a change of venue. We've also learned today that Adams 14, their 2 high schools, their graduation ceremonies will be moving indoors. We're going to have a lot more information on all of this coming up on Denver 7 News at 10. For Denver 7 News on Local 3, I'm CB Cotton.
Yeah, lots of changes for a lot of school districts. It's also a big weekend for high school sports. CHSAA, the Colorado High School Athletics Association, says the final day of the state track meet in Lakewood will be moved to Sunday if needed. The semifinal round of the girls and boys lacrosse tournaments, That has been moved to Sunday and Monday, respectively. Also, concerts like the Global Dub Fest at Red Rocks this Saturday, that's canceled, and we're still waiting to hear the status of other big events this weekend, including the Rockies versus Mets tomorrow and the Luke Combs concert on Saturday at Empower Field.
And okay, if you planted your spring garden and the trees in your front yard are in full bloom, now what? Well, for delicate flowers like these in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, some say they're going to do their best setting up tarps over them. You can try that. But protecting your trees gets a little trickier since, they're bigger. Arborist Michael Soonberg says if it's a relatively small or mid-sized tree, though, there are ways you can prevent breakage from happening.
On a tree like this size, with like a long broomstick or something, you can do a pretty good job shaking off excessive weight or even shaking the trunk of the tree enough to drop snow off. And so that can help preserve not having breakage. But once you get anything bigger, you kind of have to cross your fingers and hope for the best.
And around the metro, there are certainly many trees that tower over homes and power lines, and that can create some safety hazards in the event that they fall over. So Xcel Energy says that they have ramped up 24-hour emergency crews and are on standby for power outages, which they do expect from this storm.
And as many here know, snow this late into May is not really out of the ordinary. Over the past 10 years, Denver has seen its last snow in May 4 times, the most recent May 21st in 2019. We have a full look at the weather trends as well as what to expect with tomorrow's storm, and you can find it all right now at thedenverchannel.com.
One of the positives, though, this snow could help crews battling wildfires in our state. Evacuation orders are still in place for areas around the Plumtaw fire burning in southwestern Colorado. That's about 7 miles north of Pagosa Springs and has burned 735 acres. So the snow could help there. We're also following a new fire forcing evacuations near Ouray in western Colorado as well. That includes residents within a 5-mile area between Sims Mesa Road, Government Springs Road, as well as Wildcat Canyon.
A Denver grand jury has indicted 11 people on 74 counts for stealing at least 130 cars in the Denver metro. The Denver DA says the suspects stole the cars to support their drug habits. All 11 are believed to have stolen more than $3 million worth of vehicles and other property.
The remains of a mother missing in Longmont for more than 4 years have now been found. Rita Gutierrez Garcia went missing in March of 2018 after a night out with friends. Her remains were found in a remote Longmont field. Prosecutors say the man charged with her kidnapping and murder will plead guilty. He is already actually serving a sentence of 93 years to life in prison for a separate attempted murder and sexual assault case. And a Colorado woman has formed an unlikely bond with the man who killed her 3-year-old son more than 2 decades ago.
And she knows not everyone will understand her story, but it is one that has helped her on her journey to healing.
Denver 7's Micah Smith sat down with her and her now adopted son and their push to be an example of something called restorative justice.
It's been 26 years.
I was 16 years old in 1995.
Received a phone call to go down to Denver to get some relatives out of harm's way. And there was a report of a drive-by shooting that night before. When we went down to the Park Hill residence to pick up relatives, the shooters returned.
And I was a participant in that crime.
Both of my sons were in the back seat, and Kason lost his life that night. My 3-year-old son, Kason Xavier Evans, nicknamed Biscuit, to a tragic drive-by shooting.
It was told to me that it was my bullet that they pulled from the young man.
On December 21st, 1995, 16-year-old Raymond Johnson shot and killed Charletta Evans' son.
3 days later, from the time Kason was killed, is when they apprehended the shooters.
Evans and Johnson first came face to face inside of a courtroom.
He was just a baby, he was a child. And I was just in disbelief that children had access to guns.
I felt ashamed, I felt hurt. I was like, wow, the pain that I brought to her and her family. I ended up getting found guilty and getting sentenced to life in prison.
16 years would pass. During that time, Johnson would leave his gang, become a Muslim, and start to seek forgiveness.
My focal point was to heal her from the wounds and the pain that I caused her and her family to heal my family, and as a byproduct of their healing, to heal myself.
That he was more of a young man that actually cared about who he harmed.
The pair began participating in a pilot restorative justice program where they had tough conversations about what happened.
That was hard because you got to meet certain levels of repentance. First, you got to admit that you had committed a wrong, that you had to restore something.
It was May 23rd, 2012, that we started that, our relationship in that way, and starting to getting to know who he was, and we had that dialogue to where it just really put us both in a great place.
Evans began advocating for Johnson's release and other juvenile offenders serving mandatory life sentences. Evans' work and the work of many others led to a Supreme Court decision banning mandatory life sentences for juveniles.
We were instrumental with getting the laws changed and made restorative justice law in the state of Colorado.
After 26 years behind bars, last November, Raymond Johnson was released and had a new family waiting for him on the outside.
I think Raymond is an outstanding young man.
I consider him my brother.
Evan's son, Calvin Hurd, was also there that fateful night, in the back seat with his brother, Kason. He also developed a relationship with Johnson.
After seeing that he was authentic, being a productive citizen.
The three say they give unconventional family new meaning, but their hope is that others who have experienced unimaginable loss will consider forgiveness as a way to restore their lives and their hearts. Reporting in Denver, Micah Smith, Denver 7.
Thank you, Micah. And Monday marks the 10-year anniversary of Charlotta and Raymond's first restorative justice conversation. They are holding a special event to celebrate and share details about their journey to forgiveness. We will have more information on that event for you over on thedenverchannel.com.
Big changes on the way tonight and early tomorrow. I'll let you know just how much snow to expect.
Before the snow comes the avalanche. The Avs in Game 2 against the Blues with the home ice advantage.
And this very adventurous cat is living his 9 lives to the fullest.
We just took him out on like a little mile out and back trail, and he loved it. Like, he took right to it.